If you ever held yourself back from telling someone about your condition because you're worried about how they might see you afterwards, then you already know what I'm about to say feels like. You start thinking about it before it even happens. What you're going to say, how you're going to say it, and when the right moment to tell someone is. You go over it and over it in your head more times than you can count, trying to figure out the version that won't change the way they see you. And maybe you've been there before, where you finally say it, and instead of letting the moment be what it is, you catch yourself trying to explain it, downplaying it, or making it easier for them to take in, because deep down, you're hoping they'll stay or that nothing changes. But here's the thing. No matter how carefully you say it, no matter how much you try to get it right, it's not going to change how someone already feels if they've already formed an opinion about it. And when you start putting all your energy into managing someone else's reaction, you start changing how you say things and how you come across without even realizing it. And before you know it, the conversation isn't about being honest anymore. It's about trying to be accepted. So today, I want to talk about why trying to control how other people see you doesn't get you anywhere, what actually happens when you stop caring about their opinions, and how shifting your focus back to yourself is what finally sets you free. Hi, I'm Dupree, and I help people to navigate life with herpes. And today I want to talk about something that affects almost every area of your life. Not just your diagnosis, but your relationship, your confidence, and the way you interact with people in general. Because when you're constantly thinking about what other people think about you, you start changing things about yourself to fit in and to be liked. It shows up in how you speak, what you say, and what you don't say. Maybe you hold back, act differently, or even fall into people-pleasing. But the reality is that when you let other people's opinions decide how you feel about yourself, you're never finally free. You're always adjusting, always trying to read the room, and hoping for a certain response. And over time, that starts to wear you down mentally, and it takes a toll on your confidence. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about becoming someone who doesn't care at all, or pretending that other people's opinions don't matter. Let's face it, we all want to be liked, loved, and accepted. But the question is, at what cost? Because when you start changing who you are just to feel validated by someone outside of yourself, you start losing who you are in the process. So this episode is about learning how to stop giving those opinions so much weight, understanding that you can't control how other people see you, accepting that people are going to judge anyway, and why the way you see yourself matters more than anything else. The moment you decide you're going to tell someone about your condition, you immediately start thinking about how they might react, what they might think, or if they're going to see you differently after. And because of that, you start playing out different scenarios in your head about how it could go depending on how you say it. Maybe if I say it the right way, it'll go better. Maybe if I explain my situation and how I got it, there'll be more understanding. Or maybe if I explain the steps I take to prevent outbreaks and protect my partner, they'd be more open to being with me. So you go over it again and again in your head, you rehearse it, and you keep making small changes until it just feels right. And when you're doing this, it might feel like you're trying to make the moment easier, but what you're really doing is trying to manage someone else's reaction to something you can't control. Because the truth is, people don't respond based on how perfectly you say something. They respond based on their own beliefs, their own experiences, and whatever they already think about it. So if someone already has an opinion, whether that comes from something they've heard, something they've seen, or something they've assumed, what you say isn't going to change that. All that time and energy you spend trying to say it the right way doesn't change the outcome. The only thing it does is change how you come across in that moment. You start adjusting your tone, you start choosing your words more carefully, and you start trying to guide the conversation in a certain direction. And before you know it, you're not just sharing your condition anymore. You're trying to get a certain reaction. And that's where things start to go off track because your focus isn't on being real, it's on being accepted. And those two things are very different. Look, at the end of the day, no matter what you say or what you do, their reaction is going to be what it is. And what they think, they're going to think. And the sooner you stop trying to control that, the easier it becomes to just say what needs to be said and let things be what they're going to be. Now, here's something else I want you to understand. Even if you say everything perfectly, even if you don't overthink it or try to explain yourself away or try to manage the moment, people are still going to have their own thoughts about it. And this isn't just about your condition. This is just about people in general. People judge, they form opinions, and they make assumptions. That's just how the world works. It doesn't matter what it is, what you say, or how you say it. People are always going to see things from their point of view. Some people will be open, some won't. Some people will understand, and some people won't. And that has nothing to do with you or your worth, and has everything to do with them. And once you understand that, you stop taking anyone's reaction so personally. Look, many people aren't going to react the way that you would like them to, but that doesn't mean that you should change anything about yourself to get the outcome that you want. It just means that they're not the right person for you, and knowing that makes all the difference. Not everyone is meant to stay in your life. Not everyone is meant to understand you, and not everyone is meant to have access to you. And trust me, that's not a bad thing, because that's how you get clear on who belongs in your life and who doesn't. So instead of trying to get everyone to accept you, start paying attention to the people who actually do. And if someone doesn't, don't chase them and don't try to change it. Just take it for what it is and move on. Now, here's the most important thing I want you to understand. Once you stop trying to control how people see you, and once you stop taking the reactions so personally, your focus has no choice but to go somewhere else. And that's back on you. Because when it comes down to it, the way that you see yourself is what everything else is built on. And if you don't feel good about yourself, you'll always look for something outside of yourself to confirm it. You'll look for it in how someone responds, in whether they stay, or in whether they accept you. And the moment you do that, you give your power away, because now how you feel about yourself completely depends on what someone else says or does. And that's a position that puts you at the mercy of someone else every time. No one else gets to decide your value. No one else gets to decide if you're good enough. And the truth is, even if someone does accept you, if you don't believe that you're enough and worthy of that acceptance about yourself, it's never going to feel like enough. You'll still question it. You'll still look for signs that they might change their mind or see you differently. And you'll always wonder if their feelings towards you are going to change. So this isn't just about letting go of what other people think. It's getting clear on what you think about yourself, about who you are, what you bring to the table, and what you ultimately deserve. Because when you're clear and confident in that, everything changes. You don't feel the need to explain yourself. You don't feel the need to convince someone to stay. And you don't feel like their reaction determines anything about you. You can just say what needs to be said and leave it there. And at that point, other people don't get to control how you feel about yourself anymore. You do. So, what I want you to take from this episode is this. First, you can't control how someone is going to react, no matter how you carefully say something. So instead of trying to get it perfect, focus on just being clear and being honest. Second, people are going to have their own opinions no matter what, and that's not something you need to fix or change. Pay attention to who accepts you and who doesn't, because that tells you everything you need to know. Third, the most important thing is how you see yourself. Because if you're constantly looking for someone else to validate you, you're always going to question yourself. But when you're clear on who you are and what you deserve, you start to feel secure in who you are. So, the next time you find yourself overthinking about what to say or worrying about how someone is going to respond, pause for a second and ask yourself this. Am I trying to control what they think about me, or am I just letting them think what they're going to think? And the moment you stop trying to control their reaction is the moment you stop letting it control you. Not from them, but from the part of you that thought you needed their approval in the first place. Well, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't subscribed yet, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on audio, be sure to do that so you don't miss future episodes. Also, if you're tired of navigating your condition alone, come join us at Herpes Wellness. Free membership gives you access to a private community with forums where you can ask questions, seek advice, and support others along their journeys. And if you're ready for more connection, our paid membership gives you full access to the community, including the Group and Love Connection Chat Lounge with AI matchmaking, direct messaging with other members, plus some other really cool features. You'll also get access to my 10-part workshop series, Shift Your Mindset About Herpes. Now, this is the same series featured on the podcast, but now I'm going to take each part and I'm turning it into monthly live workshops where you can apply what you're learning in real time so that you could take your power back from herpes where it no longer controls your life. Also, if you want support on the go, you can download the Herpes Wellness app for free, available in both the App Store and Google Play. The links to our website and the app are in the description. And if you're concerned about privacy, we've got you totally covered. The app icon and push notifications say H Wellness. So if somebody happens to see your screen, you won't disclose your status unintentionally. And if you're enjoying the podcast, or if you have something you'd like to share, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you the next time on the Herpes Wellness Podcast. Bye for now.